Hello everyone, welcome to another Gold Nugget, JAW_success. Now, you notice I'm walking again. That's because I have one of these trackers that keeps my number of steps and how much calories I burn. I'm not telling you to do something that I am not doing. In fact, when you're a Jamaican and you move to a cold country like England, where it's always overcast, raining, and cold, you tend to want to stay inside, and the result of that is, you all know, putting on extra pounds and doing all kind of stuff. But today's nugget has to do with choosing careers and international path. Now, when you desire, if you desire to move to another country, right, there are some things that I would love to point out to you. One, if you're going to move to another country, no matter what your qualification is, especially at a particular level, you're going to struggle to find a job. So this nugget is about how to make choices, how to make a decision as to where you are going to move and what is going to be your challenge there in making a living. For me, I have now learned that if I was to do it over again, I would have chosen to do my degree in teaching, nursing, or one of those kind of field. Now, if you're going to make choices as to your career, my encouragement to you is choose careers that have not only local scope, but it has international reach. What do I mean by that? For example, when you work with a company such as DHL, UPS, Xerox, Stanley's, 3M, when you work with banks such as BNS, and if you work in, let's say, PriceSmart, Megamart, or these kind of superstores where you have warehouse management background, where you have customer service background, where you have client service background. Now, a lot of us look down on certain career path and think that, boy, that's not for me. And we choose the high and lofty job positions in terms of going for a degree. But let me say this to you. I have moved from Jamaica and realized that it doesn't matter how qualified you are at a particular level. You're going to struggle if your company that you work with in a, let's say, in a third world country, whether that third world country is in the Caribbean, someplace in Africa, or someplace in South America or stuff, you're gonna struggle. So what is my admonition to you? Look at company that doesn't only have local base, but they have international reach. Because if the company doesn't have an international reach, but it have a local base, you could be the managing director. When you leave and migrate to another country, you might have to downgrade to a level where you can't even find a job. I can share with you that I personally, I am walking, so I have to look at where I'm crossing the street. I personally had decided when I was leaving Jamaica that there are two things that I am not going to be doing. First of all, I have a degree in operations and productions management, banking and finance. But then migrating to this new country, guess what happened to me? I struggled because guess what? I do not have the prerequisite skills according to them. I work as an accounting supervisor for years, but then guess what? When I look at the job market and the scope for employment, guess what it is saying? You're not qualified. So I'm saying to you, when you're choosing a job, choose a job that has international reach, right? It has branches in other countries. Why? Because the standard that govern these companies is the same across the board in whatever country you are going to be doing. For example, if you are choosing to work with a company, I am saying to you, choose a simple company such as Western Union, right? I would have worked at DHL. You know, if I have to do it all over again, I would have probably chosen a career or a job that had me at UPS, DHL, FedEx, These companies, why? Because they're international, they're straight across the board. And when you say that I work with FedEx in Jamaica, they will not say that you don't have the experience. Because guess what? It's the same standard that is across the board. When you are a nurse, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you hear any major recruitment for lawyers or for accountants in any country? There is always a major recruitment for nurses. There's always a major recruitment for teachers and certain other professions. So when you are making choices as to what you're going to do with your life, think about whether or not you're going to be living in one locality, in one country, or you're going to be moving across the board. Because if you're going to move from one country to the next, unless you are prepared to take a downgrade, you are not going to survive too well. Because guess what? In other countries, your degree doesn't count for nothing. You know, I know persons who were managers in banks, right? And they have to come and work in factories. Why? Because, yeah, you are a manager in a bank, but a managerial skill in a bank is not transferable, so to speak. It's not one of those skills that will make you quickly get a job and grow. So when you're making a choice as to whether or not you are going to choose a particular career, choose a career that give you international scope. It have a local base, yes, but it has an international scope. So I hope in speaking to everyone today, you have an idea that it's not easy to make the transfer from one country to the next unless where you have worked before give you an international scope. Yes, there are some things you might have to tweak just a bit, right? In terms of the profession, in terms of the career, you might have to tweak it just a bit. But then guess what? Unless you are, well, let me put it this way. Unless you weren't any good at all, right? And your recommendation, the company that you work with had some international background to it, you can make it. All right. So this is what I'm saying again. Look at the company that you want to work with. Does it have local base? Yes. But does it have international reach? If it doesn't have international reach, I'm telling you, if you plan to move to anywhere else in the world, you're going to struggle, even with a degree. So my advice to you is take the time, right, to examine the pathways that you're going to travel. You know, as I said, if I was to do it over again, I would have gone to do a teaching degree or even a nurse's diploma, because those are always needed. It doesn't matter where you go in the world, there is always going to be an hospital, there's always going to be a clinic. Think about your life as something that must transcend from one generation to the next. For example, wine. It doesn't matter which generation. A company that sells wine can be in business for hundreds of years. A company that sells bread will be in business for hundreds of years unless it hit poor management and fail to change with the time. You have to see yourself like that, where you produce such a international flavor and such an international feel that it doesn't matter where you go, your name precedes you. And this is where I want us to get to in Gold Nugget JAW_success, that it doesn't matter where you are in life, your skill. The Bible would put it this way: the gift of a man make room for him. And so when you have looked at your gift, which is where you work, who you have worked for, what you have studied, how well you have done, it will easier transfer. Like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. But I want to say to everybody, if you have desire to move from one place to another, you have to make choices for companies that are international in scope. They have international reach and not just a local base. All right, bless up.